Super Talk 99.7 WTN 905. Welcome into the Chris Hands Show. I'm so happy to have you here. You could be anywhere in the world right now, but you're here with me, Mac, Ken, and we appreciate you for it. On the Super Text line, on the phone lines, we are open and ready for business for you. 615-737-9986. Yesterday we had that news that Tom Emmer would be the Speaker of the House. It didn't last long. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. There was some breaking news last night. A new speaker designate has been named. Okay, give me some audio, Mike Maury.
It's a new one.
This is a Fox News alert. Congressman Mike Johnson has just been elected Speaker Designate to the Republican Conference. We'll continue to follow this ever-developing story, and maybe one day they'll have a speaker.
Oh, Hannity. He's so salty even when things are getting done. Why don't we let's check in on Mike and the boys and see how they're taking the news. All right, the boys seem happy. Woo! All right, that was the GOP when Mike got announced. Mike Johnson.
Mike.
Big Mike. Not that Big Mike. Big Mike Johnson. So he's the new Speaker of the House designate, right? Speaker designate? I don't know. It's just a weird title.
Yeah.
I don't know. By the end of the day, he may not even be in the running. So let's find out about this Michael Johnson. Who is this man? What is he about? What do we know about him? Okay. He didn't vote to certify the 2020 election. So that's cool. He's from the state of Louisiana. Been in Congress since 2017. Cool. He voted in. He has not voted in favor of any funding for Ukraine, other than that first initial funding bill. So that's cool. That's pretty cool. Somebody said he's personal friends with Amy Coney Barrett. I don't know. All right. I don't know if that's like a big deal. Would you think that's a big deal? He's friends with ACB. You down with ACB?
Sure.
All right, cool. But as I'm trying to find out about Mike Johnson, I'm like, okay, but like I haven't heard him speak that much. I'll be perfectly honest with you. So I start going down rabbit holes, as you know I like to. And this is I started finding all this audio from Mike Johnson. And one of the things that I found was Mike Johnson on opening the impeachment inquiry.
We're the rule of law team. We're for the law and order. We're for the Constitution. And it says very specifically, Article 1, the sole power of impeachment belongs with the House. And Article 2, Section 4 says, a president shall be removed from office for impeachment of, conviction for treason, bribery, high crimes, misdemeanors. The things that the evidence is leading us to, the allegations that are very serious and have been made, and the mounting evidence stacking up to show is the causes that are listed right there in the Constitution. So we have no choice. Why are Democrats ignoring it? Purely for partisan political purposes. They know, they can see this just as we do. Many of them will admit privately behind the scenes here that they know Hunter Biden is corrupt. And they all suspect, as we do, that the president knew exactly what his son was doing because he was engaging in phone calls and having private dinners with the very people that were sending all these checks.
So that's Mike Johnson on the validity behind the impeachment inquiry. So he seems like if he is going to become Speaker of the House, he's the type of guy that will push through impeachment. Okay, cool. But, he's going to be up against the establishment, right? If he becomes Speaker of the House, he's not only going to have to fight Democrats, he's also going to have to fight the fake news media. So how will Mike Johnson handle the fake news media? Well, I found this piece of audio of Mike Johnson taking to task fake news headlines.
It is so far from Time Magazine. Biden inquiry may be weakest in history. Oh, yeah. From CNN, the most predictable impeachment investigation in American history. From Reuters, McCarthy opens long-shot impeachment probe of Biden. From MSNBC, McCarthy's Biden impeachment inquiry is the Benghazi investigation on steroids. These headlines are going to increase. We know what's coming. We know that they're working against us, against the American people in this case, and for the White House.
So he's kind of hip to the game. At least he seems that way. But that stuff is recent, right? What else? What else does this guy stand for? Well, I found out his position on term limits for Congress. So I thought this was interesting.
This is a really important discussion, and it's one that's long overdue. I got to Congress, Mr. Gates and I came in together in the same class. We've been here, we're on our 4th term. We have filed term limits bills ever since we got here. I think, if my memory is correct, I think the first bill that I sponsored or co-sponsored was a term limits bill. But we have never had a hearing, so far as I know, in the modern era on the subject, at least not so long as I've been involved. And so this is a day that's a long time coming.
Long time coming, term limits. He goes on to say he's not sure if it should be 3 terms or 6 terms, but he thinks that the conversation is important. I like his stance on that. All right, how does he rank up against other Republicans? Well, Joey Manorino tweeted that he has a 74% Liberty score. I was like, all right, cool. What the hell is a Liberty score?
Yeah, what's that mean?
Okay, so this I wasn't aware. A Liberty score is a rating done by Conservative Review. Conservative Review is a website that's owned by Blaze Media. Mark Levin is heavily involved with Conservative Review and this Liberty score. So basically what the Liberty score is it's a report card for conservatives, and it's a grade based on the top 50 votes that office holder has taken during the duration of a rolling 6-year window, okay? So it's not just the last election cycle, it's the last 6 years. So Mike Johnson has a 74%. And I started thinking to myself, okay, like, is that good? Is 74% good? That's a C, right? So I wanted to put it in perspective. Okay. So let's go down the list of some of the guys that we know. John Rose. He has 85% Liberty score.
Oh, okay. Better.
Marsha Blackburn has a 93% Liberty score.
Pretty good.
It's a good score. Mark Green has an 85% Liberty score. Desjardins. Okay, now for me, I like Desjardins. Now, he's not going to be as ultra MAGA as I may want him to be sometimes, full disclosure. But I think Desjardins is consistently doing his thing. So I would say like Desjardins is kind of like my bar. Like I'm not gonna be mad at Desjardins for doing Desjardins things. Whereas so I was upset Andy Ogles didn't vote to oust McCarthy. I never expected Desjardins to vote to oust McCarthy. Do you know what I mean? But Desjardins never gave me the inclination that he would. I never thought Desjardins would go out and that's just not his style. And that's okay. I'm totally cool with his style.
He's upfront about it.
Exactly. At least he's transparent. So I feel like Desjardins is the bar. Desjardins has an 81% on Liberty score.
Okay. Solid. Better than 75.
Yeah. Tim Burchett. Our boy Tim Burchett.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a 95 on Liberty score. Okay, so that's Tennessee. Liberty score, so again, our new speaker designate, Mike Johnson on Liberty score, has a 74%. Okay. Desjardins has 81, Marsha Blackburn, 83, Tim Burchett, 95. Tim Burchett is the highest scoring Tennessee Republican on this Liberty score on Conservative Review. Andy Ogles doesn't have enough votes to be graded at this time. I'm sure Andy would be pretty high up there too.
Imagine,
But so that's Tennessee. But I was like, okay, well, like, how does everybody else rank compared to Mike Johnson? Well, the bow tie man that was in there for a hot minute, Patrick McHenry, the guy that was kind of like the interim. Is he still the interim technically? Still the interim technically.
Believe so, yeah.
Well, he has an F at 54%.
Oh.
Yep. Tom Emmer, the guy that was yesterday's choice, he has a D at 69%. Kevin McCarthy, our last Speaker of the House, also has an F at 54%. So Mike Johnson, he's outpacing the rhinos that we didn't want in there. He's no Tim Burchett, according to this Liberty score. But I wanted you to see those other scores of Tennessee Republicans to kind of make your own decision on how you feel about this Liberty score. Again, John Rose, 85. Mark Green, 85. Marsha Blackburn, 93. Desjardins, 81. So, kind of weight those scores how you will, depending on your own personal preference of these people. I don't want to tell you how to think about them. But Mike Johnson, I don't necessarily dislike him. I don't necessarily like him. I want to see more from him. So I kept digging. I kept trying to find more from him. So I wanted to rewind and try and go back a little bit even further and find out where he has been in the past. He's been in Congress since 2017, so he's got to be on record for a bunch of issues. Well, this is Mike Johnson on Trump's impeachment.
Members have called for removal based on a myriad of objections against this president. Representative Al Green of Texas filed a resolution in the House for impeachment after Trump called for players kneeling during the national anthem to be fired. I mean, come on. You don't like his political positions? Great, but you can't impeach a president because you don't like him. That's not how this system works. We're in a constitutional republic. There are rules here. There are standards.
I know a lot of people are probably geeked about the fact that he used the term constitutional republic. Probably pretty geeked.
Like his political positions, great, but you can't impeach a president because you don't like him. That's not how this system works. We're in a constitutional republic. There are rules here. There are standards. You don't get to make that decision. The voters in this country do. And we have an election coming up in about 11 months. Let the people decide. Don't put yourselves in their place. You don't have the right to do it. You're not following the proper procedure. You're not doing this the right way. It's a rarely used constitutional device in our history. It's supposed to be. Professor Turley ended this way, and I will too. He said, quote, despite my disagreement with many of President Trump's policies and statements, impeachment was never intended to be used as a midterm corrective option for a divisive or unpopular leader, unquote. Look, we get it. You don't like him. That doesn't mean you can banish him from the marketplace. You can't send him out of his businesses and say he can't hold a position of honor or trust. You don't get the right to do that. The people of this country do. We live in a republic. I'm just sick of this. I yield back.
So pretty based.
Yeah.
I'm just sick of this, so I yield back. All right, a couple people are asking me about the Liberty score. Somebody said, what was McCarthy's score? 54%. Hit an F. What is Cohen's score? Cohen scored a 10%. Marsha Blackburn had 93%. That's on Liberty Score. You can find it at libertyscore.conservativereview.com. I was also asked about Jim Jordan's score. So let me pull up old Jimmy boy. Jim Jordan, let's see, all states. So you can go down the list by every single state. Jim Jordan has an A, 94%.
Kind of curious on Matt Gaetz.
Let's find Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz has a B, 84%.
Okay.
I got to update that picture. He's a little pudgy in that picture. It's not a flattering look if you go on libertyscore.conservativereview.com. I didn't realize Matt Gaetz was that chubby back in the day. All right.
I haven't, not either.
Are you on the site? Do you see the picture
I'm
of
looking
him?
at this, yeah. Yeah, not his best look.
It looks like he's got a swollen jaw. I like Matt Gaetz. I don't know. I just feel like they could have got him a better picture.
Like Fat Gates. No, I'm just
kidding.
kidding.
That's not something we're going to say on the Chris Hand Show.
I'm just kidding.
Other shows might say that. We wouldn't say that. Fat Gaetz. Terrible. What is Mr. MAGA's Liberty score? I don't know. Who's 24-28? Who's Mr. MAGA? Are you talking about Donald Trump?
Yeah, it's Donald Trump. I mean, would he have a Liberty score?
I don't know. Let's look it up. No, it's just Congress and Senate.
Gotcha.
So no Mr. MAGA scores. Adam Kinzinger, who is working for CNN, he had an F, 34%. So I mean, there's definitely some ratings that make sense. I'm sure there's going to be some ratings on that you go, I don't know if I would rate them that high. But it seems like Mike Johnson is legit, so he's probably not going to end up winning. That's full disclosure. He's probably not going to become Speaker of the House if he's that legit. This is Mike Johnson versus Christopher Wray at a hearing on, the FBI basically colluding to censor people online.
The FBI made the social media platforms pull that information off the internet if it came from conservative sources. They did this under the guise that it was disinformation. Can you define what disinformation is?
What I can tell you is that our focus is not on disinformation, broadly speaking.
Well, wait a minute. Yes, it is.
Well,
wait a minute.
Can I answer the question?
You can in a minute. Your star witness said in the litigation, Elvis Chan, who's in charge of this, said they do it on the basis of disinformation. We need a definition of what that is.
Our focus is on malign foreign disinformation. That is foreign hostile actors who engage in covert efforts to abuse our social media platforms, which is something that is not seriously in dispute.
I have to stop you for time. That's not accurate. You need to read this court opinion because you're in charge of enforcing it. The court has found that, and Elvis Chan testified under oath in charge of this for you. He said 50%. He had a 50% success rate in having alleged election disinformation taken down or censored. That wasn't just foreign adversaries, sir. That was American citizens. How do you answer for that?
Well, first off, I'm not sure that's a correct characterization.
Comes right out of the opinion. You should read it.
Of his testimony. But what I would say is the FBI is not in the business of moderating content or causing any social media company to suppress or censor.
That is not what the court has found.
I like him. I do. Mike Johnson, the fourth speaker designate of the House. He received 127 votes from the GOP conference. He voted against certifying the 2020 election. He's not voted in favor of any funding for Ukraine other than that first bill. He supported Trump's ban on terror-prone nations. He seems pretty based. And bonus fun fact, not that it means anything, he's personal friends with Amy Coney Barrett. So I still think that was like a weird thing to put in a tweet about Mike Johnson. He knows ACB. So he's got to be good. 922 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
If you're expecting a package today, it could be delayed. I'll tell you why coming up at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ken Weaver crushing dreams and bringing you the headlines. That'll happen at 9:30.
It's bad, Brother Chris. It's bad.
Well, I don't know. It's not all bad. Mike Johnson seems pretty good. Gail in Bethpage, she wants to give our a Liberty score for Mike Johnson. What would you score Mike at, Gail?
This is my score. My score is 100.
You think you got 100 on him?
I have been watching him for several years now, live on the committee hearing. He is just brilliant, just like what you showed about with Ray. He knows how to ask the questions and everything, and I don't think anybody could be a better job. I think he'll be a uniter, so I'm giving him 100.
I appreciate it, Gail. Thank you so much for the call. Listen, he does seem to be solid. This was Mike Johnson. This is moments after Nancy Pelosi ripped up the speech at the State of the Union address. Mike Johnson was actually one of the first people to call Nancy Pelosi out for committing a felony.
So you were obviously watching there at the State of the Union. When you saw the speaker rip the president's speech into pieces, did you take that as a sign of politeness, as an expression of kindness and friendship?
No, of course not. I mean, it was a shameful display. It was stunning, really, to many members sitting in the House. It was totally unprecedented. It was shameless, and it was also unlawful, Tucker. A lot of people have been talking about this the last 48 hours, and I did a little legal memo to point out to my colleagues that she actually committed a felony when she tore that paper up. It wasn't just any copy of the State of the Union address. It was the copy, the original. And we have over 2 centuries of custom and tradition, and of course the Constitution that calls for the State of the Union address, that when the president delivers the copies to those top legal officers, the 2 top legislative officers in that co-equal branch of government, those are the official documents of the House, and if you tear those up, you violated a specific statute in the criminal code.
"9:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And if you're expecting a package today, depending on whoever's delivering it, it could be delayed. FedEx says they had an IT system outage at the Memphis hub last night, affecting everyone's package deliveries scheduled to land at your doorstep today. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, getting sued by Tennessee, Kentucky, and dozens of other states, accusing Meta of deliberately marketing its platforms to children and hurting their mental health. This is Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser.
We've been looking at this for over 2 years, and our conclusion is clear. These platforms, Instagram and Facebook, are currently working in ways that harm young people. We need them to change.
In response, Meta says it is disappointed in the suit, claims that it already has some 30 tools to help teens navigate their platforms responsibly. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. There was a recent study by J.D. Power looking at how happy investors were with their advisors, and it wasn't pretty. What they found was only 11% of the respondents said that they were getting comprehensive financial planning, that the fees were clear, and that they felt that the advisor was acting in their best interest. Not a good picture, 11%. Now, one of the things that we do is we do comprehensive planning. We fit all of those bills, number one. But one of the things I want to talk about is in the financial planning process, what I think it ought to look like and what is available that people aren't getting. And one of the things is called probability analysis. So in essence, this is what we're talking about. We're trying to accumulate money for retirement. Put money aside, hoping that we'll have enough so that we can have income throughout retirement. And what we find is that people have Social Security, they have pensions in their financial plan, and they also have investments. Now, with their investments, we want to do something very specific that it really requires quite an academic background to do this. And this is where we look at the cost of capital of the various things that you own in your investment portfolio. It sounds scary, it sounds really detailed, but here's the idea. Is if we look at various asset classes like large stocks and small stocks and large value and bonds and so on and so forth, we know the expected return or the cost that these entities have to pay to use your money. So we can come up with an expected return of the portfolio. We can also come up with what's called standard deviation, or how much that portfolio return may deviate from the expected return. Now that's a whole other video, but what I want to do is show you how we use this. If I look at a financial plan and I say, well, you got this area, this area, this area, what I can do is I can say, well, based on when you want to retire, this is how much income you can take, and here's the likelihood of being able to have this income survive throughout your entire life. And the way it works is this. If I take a portfolio and I say, there's the expected return, I can look at history and say, well, the way your portfolio is designed, how might your one-year returns vary from the expected return, the long-term expected return? Well, what we know from academic research is that portfolios well designed and properly managed in ways that I can't get into right now, it's too complicated. Portfolios actually close in an expected return, but we don't know what the short-term returns are going to be. So what we do is we project out and say, well, what if the return that happened in 1936 is followed by the return that happened in 1975, which is followed by the return in 1995, or what if it's reversed? What if they happen in different orders? And we can do 1,000 iterations, different variations on when those and how those returns may come in. And what that does is, because we can't predict the future, what return's going to follow the other, we can figure out, is it likely that we are going to be able to take the income that we need throughout retirement from this portfolio? And if not, how can we rearrange the furniture or the portfolio to give us a higher likelihood of success? And we look at life expectancies, we look at a lot of different things, but this is what is available to people that they're not getting from the financial planning community. If you want to know more, go to paulwinkler.com, set up a free 15-minute phone call, paulwinkler.com, and come in and find out more about what we do.
.937 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We're talking about our new speaker designate. You say tomato, I say tomato, I guess. I don't really know.
Me either.
we're looking at Mike Johnson's history and some of the things he's said. And I'll be honest with you, he seems pretty based. So he's probably not going to be the Speaker of the House. It certainly doesn't seem that way. 3299 said Mike Johnson is a two-legged pit bull. He will be awesome. 0779 said, never heard of Mike Johnson before this morning, but sounds pretty good. Let's make him Speaker and get on with it and end the national embarrassment of demonstrating the Republicans' utter lack of positive leadership. Yeah, I hear you. Then 2646 said, look for the rhinos to block Johnson. He's too conservative. So we were also talking about Mike Johnson's Liberty score. Somebody said, what's Matt Gaetz' Liberty score? And Matt Gaetz has an 84. He's got a B, but then we were looking at the picture of him. He looks a little bit chubbier than he used to. And Mac made the joke, Fat Gates, and 6347 said Fat Gates, Savage Department, Randy speaking. I made the point to Mac off air. Listen, we try not to pick on the weak, we pick on the strong, and that would be a joke we would tell Matt to his face.
Yeah. Good guy. He'd laugh about it.
His lesser fat face currently. I promise you. He looks like he's lost a bunch of weight. Especially compared to that picture. Jeez. Somebody asked me, okay, just to recap, the Liberty score, that Mike Johnson has a Liberty score of 74%. Liberty score is this rating done by Conservative Review. Conservative Review is a website that's owned by Blaze Media. Mark Levin's all involved, all the guys at Blaze Media. But it's basically this report card for conservatives. It's a grade based on the top 50 votes that office holder has taken in the duration of a 6-year rolling window, okay? It's not just from the last election cycle. It's a 6-year window that rolls. To put it into perspective, Tim Burchett has a 95% Liberty score. Patrick McHenry, the current interim speaker, has an F at 54%. Kevin McCarthy has an F at 54%. Tom Emmer, who was our speaker designate yesterday, just yesterday, it was all good just a day ago for Tom Emmer. He has a D at 69%. Somebody asked me, what's Lindsey Graham's Liberty score? Lindsey Graham. Well, he's more worried about bombing Iran than he is his Liberty score, because he's coming in at an F with 43%. Lindsey Graham has an F. What about Mitch McConnell? Mitch McConnell also has an F. Ooh, 44%. Liberty score. I mean, listen, this is an interesting. It's an interesting tool. I think that it is a tool, and I wouldn't take everything it says as fact. I think it's also important to point out, you're dealing with the guys at the Blaze and Conservative Review, and conservatives have biases too. You know what I mean? So take everything with a grain of salt and form your own opinion. Absolutely a good tool. Just for reference, in Tennessee, they have Senator Marsha Blackburn at 93%. They have Scott Desjardins at 81%. So good grades. John Rose, 85%. Our old pal, Steve Cohen, he's got an F with 10%. Just a tool to use to help you figure out what decisions you want to make when you're voting. It's not the end-all, be-all, and it doesn't mean that just because somebody has an A or just because somebody has a lower grade score, that they are technically more or less, you know what I mean? You make your own decisions, but just letting you know that tool is out there. What do you think about Mike Johnson? I'd love to hear your opinions at 615-737-9986, 615-737-9986. They asked about Bill Haggerty on Liberty score. I don't think Haggerty was up there. Bill Haggerty, he has a B, 88%. I don't know. What do you think about those Liberty scores, too? You think those are too high for some of our elected officials?
8715 says the idea of a Liberty score is incredibly stupid, the opposite of independent thinking. Liberty score equals dumbing down the American voter.
Oh, all right. Let's see what this guy said in the past. I don't know. Listen, I'm not telling you that Liberty score is the end all be all. Like I just said, I just think that it's a tool to use in helping you figure out the political landscape. Mark Green. I was asked about Mark Green. I think he had an 85. Let me double check.
Yeah, I think he had a good score.
Yeah. I know he's got a good, healthy stock portfolio. What? Mark Green has an 85%.
I mean, there are tests and scores like this in sports too, where maybe it's not the end all be all like you said, but it's just okay, an idea of something there.
Yeah, that you can't. I'm not telling you to base all of your political opinions off of this Liberty score. I'm just letting you know when somebody says,
"Yeah,
oh, he's got a 74 on Liberty score." My head goes, "Well, what the hell is a Liberty score?" And then I did research, and then I also want to compare it to other prominent Republican scores, so we can kind of get an idea, a lay of the land on, is this Liberty score biased? In what ways is it biased? Who is it biased against? There's always going to be some aspect of bias in all of these kind of things. Like if you think that you're going to get unfiltered news, even from conservative media, you're just not. There's always going to be a lens it goes through. And so whenever you're reading news, you should, or anything like this, like a Liberty score, you should just be like, okay, well, who is telling me this opinion? What are they saying about others? And then just use that to inform yourself and make your own choice as best you can. I don't think it's the end all be all. Some of these scores seem like, yeah, right on. Some of them I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I would go that high, or I don't know if I would go that low. Like, would I rate Mike Johnson, at 74%? Judging from some of the stuff I've heard, he seems pretty conservative. I wonder what scores brought him down to 74%. I mean, again, Mike Johnson, the speaker designate, he voted against certifying the 2020 election. He introduced a Stop the Sexualization of Children Act, and this was in 2022, which would prohibit federally funded institutions from promoting child sexualization and transgenderization. He supported Trump's ban on terror-prone nations. He seems solid. And the more I dig on him, the more audio I pull, he doesn't seem like he scares easy. It doesn't seem like he's jaded. Any congressman that goes up there and says he supports term limits, I like it. So he can't be a kind of guy that wants to be a career politician. I don't know how you could be a career politician and want term limits at the same time. He thinks climate change. Oh, this is what the Democrats are saying about him. You want to hear what the Democrats are saying about him?
Yes, please.
These are red flags according to the Democrats. Meet Rep Mike Johnson. That's how I began to read it. Meet Rep Mike Johnson. He thinks Trump won the 2020 election. All right, that's pretty cool. He thinks January 6th was a legitimate protest. Oh, all right. Also pretty cool. He thinks COVID was a hoax and vaccines are dangerous. Go on. He thinks Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. He cut Medicare. He thinks climate change is a hoax. I'm like, all right. I already said I like the guy. All right. What's the meme in Spider-Man? It's like, you don't have to talk me into it, Harry. I already said I would do it. You don't have to sell me. This is Mike Johnson. This is another way the left is trying to rail against this guy, right? This is Mike Johnson when Roe v. Wade got overturned.
This is a big day. 49 years it has taken to reverse this great tragedy. There is no right to abortion in the Constitution. There never was. It's not in its text or its structure or its meaning.
And the court has finally said that decisively. Many of us have been working for this day our entire adult lives, and it is a great, joyous occasion.
It's a great, joyous occasion. Roe v. Wade being overturned. The Democrats will tell you it's terrible. Listen to Democrat talking points. You ready? You got my dramatic music for me? Mike Johnson, an architect of the scheme to overturn the 2020 election. He wants to ban abortion. He only wants tax cuts for corporations. He wants higher drug profits for drug companies. He opposes contraception. The architect of the House effort to overturn elections was on Trump legal defense in both impeachments. He supports a national abortion ban. He thinks weed is a gateway drug. So you don't have to talk me into him, guys. You don't have to sell me.
Okay, I get it. I like him.
All right. I like him. Okay, chill. 0093 has something to add. Put the dramatic music back on.
Okay.
And he's not scared of corn pop. Thank you, 0093. I would even go a step further. He thinks corn pop is a good guy. All right. So all right, we like Mike Johnson. So he's probably not going to be Speaker of the House. Spoiler alert. But yeah, the Democrats are cracking me up. Can you believe this guy? He thought Trump won the election. It's like, all right, I like him.
All right, I get it.
Mike Johnson's 100% pro-life. How could he? It's all right.
Okay, he's based.
All right, cool. You don't have to sell me on him. But this is how they have nothing to demonize the man for, so they say things like, he thinks climate change is a hoax. Oh, all right.
Oh, okay.
Would you prefer him hopping on a private jet by himself to go to Davos to talk about what they can do to fight climate change? Maybe that would be a better... Maybe you would prefer Mike Johnson to do that. Instead of thinking climate change is a hoax, maybe we should get him on a private jet to go to Davos. Yeah. He supports a national abortion ban. What a monster. He's a monster. Get him out of there. All right, well... We'll see what happens today. I'm a big fan of the Johnson.
MJ.
I mean, I hope that Mike Johnson goes out there today and has a flu game and just, mops the floor like any MJ.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Any of them. Let's do it. All right, we're on Team Mike. I'm on Team Mike. When the only negative thing the Democrats can say about him is that he thinks Trump won the 2020 election and January 6th was a legitimate protest. I'm like, all right, guys, I'm just going to like him harder. 9:51 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Had an IT issue overnight that could affect when that package arrives today, if it does. Details at 10 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
From packages to Johnson's. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Mike Johnson, the Speaker designate of the House. Seems like a lot of you guys are pretty big fans of him on the Super Text line. I'd love to hear what you have to say. 615-737-9986. Feel free to call. 8765 says, who doesn't like a big Johnson? 0779 says it's about time the House gets a Johnson. Somebody said, what did you say about him in Medicare? Well, I was reading off what the Democrats are saying about him. And Democrats are saying that he wanted to cut Medicare. But you know, they say that about every Republican. I would have to dig into it more. But I don't know. I wouldn't be scared. They're also saying that it's bad that he thinks Trump won the 2020 election. They think it's bad that Mike Johnson thinks that COVID was a hoax and vaccines are dangerous. And again, that's a Democrat saying it, so I doubt it was as extreme as they're making it seem, which is kind of the funny part behind it. I am getting a lot of texts, however. Jason texted in, and Jason's not the only one, but quite a few people have been saying this. I think we're missing out by not getting Corn Pop to run for Speaker of the House. This is true. This is true. But I think Corn Pop may still be in hiding when it comes to the Biden crime family. So prayers up for Corn Pop. It's 9:59 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, and Ken Weaver's got the news for you.
Ten o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. And if you're expecting a package delivered today, it could be delayed. FedEx says they had an IT system outage at the Memphis hub last night. The company's not giving out any details other than anyone expecting a package on October 25th today could experience delays. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, getting sued by Tennessee, Kentucky, and dozens of other states, accused of deliberately marketing its platforms to children, hurting their mental health. Here's Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser.
We've been looking at this for over 2 years, and our conclusion is clear. These platforms, Instagram and Facebook, are currently working in ways that harm young people. We need them to change.
In response, Meta says it is disappointed in the lawsuit, claims it already has some 30 tools to help teens navigate their platforms responsibly. All ears and eyes on Capitol Hill today when the House votes on new GOP Speaker nominee Mike Johnson of Louisiana.
Republican nominee for Speaker. He wins on the third ballot with 128 Republicans supporting him, but 44 Republicans voted for another candidate not named in the running.
That's Jay O'Brien reporting. And right now in New York, former President Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen under cross-examination as he testifies against his former boss in that civil fraud trial. Israel-Hamas war update. Here's Ian Pannell.
We're getting news of a meeting that's taken place in Beirut, Lebanon, between Hezbollah, Hamas and Islamic Jihad, three terrorist organizations, according to the US. Not clear when it took place, but the head of Hezbollah saying they're now going to work together and discussing next steps they're going to take against Israel.
Meanwhile, more American air power arriving in the Middle East, including F-16s from the New Jersey Air National Guard, a group known as the Jersey Devils. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey everybody, Dan Mattis with Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm here at the Nashville Rescue Mission doing the interviews that I look forward to doing every single year. These are incredible stories of people who have had amazing recoveries. Thanks to this amazing facility, they are able to get clean and lead a more productive life. The date of our annual Radiothon is going to be Monday, November 20th. Listen in and please donate. You can get more information at 99.7 WTN, including a link to the website for Nashville's Rescue Mission.
10:04 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We've been talking about Mike Johnson, who is the speaker designate in the House. It seems fun. Democrats seem big mad. Republicans seem okay with it for the most part. There's going to be some opposition. Will he even become Speaker of the House? Time will tell. Time will tell. Probably not. He seems too based, too conservative. And as one super texter said, oh my gosh, Jake texted in. He said, well, Democrats will do what they do best and have the Johnson removed. So
Nice. Nice.
nailed it. So I don't know. Will he be the Speaker of the House? I don't know. In the meantime, I'm fine with not having one. Let's not pass any more bills funding overseas wars. That'd be cool. Have you even noticed not having a Speaker of the House? It's been 3 weeks. Has it impacted your life in any way? Nope. Not at all. It's impacted my life a little bit. It's been fun to talk about. It's given me content, if you will. But in terms of the country, has it really impacted us? You know, it cracks me up when people will say, we don't have a Speaker of the House. We look foolish on the world stage. We look foolish. Can you believe what people think of us when we don't have a Speaker of the House? And it's like, hey, have you seen our president? Have you seen who's running the White House? We look foolish on the world stage. We have a president who claimed he cured cancer. We have a president that talks to dead people, looks for them in the crowd, shakes hands with ghosts, gets lost going on stage, gets lost going off stage, and people are worried about looking foolish because we don't have a Speaker of the House.
Come on, man.
Come on. I mean, this just seems a little weird. This is our president yesterday celebrating what he calls one of his greatest victories.
You know, starting on day one, in the middle of the pandemic, we vaccinated a nation, the greatest operational effort ever undertaken by this country, operational. And we did it with a strategy based on science, not on politics. Now, science is exploring whether the mRNA technology that brought us safe and effective COVID vaccines can be used against cancer.
I thought he cured cancer. Didn't he say that one time?
Yeah, what? Come on.
Thought it was cured. I feel like this is a weird stance to take. This was our greatest operational feat in science ever that we did as an administration. You kicked out military members that didn't want to take an experimental mRNA jab. I have a friend who was in the Air Force, chair force, if you're keeping score at home and you're in the Army or the Marines or the Navy. He was pretty high up there without, giving too much away on him. But he got COVID early on in the pandemic. Didn't want to take the vaccine, had just signed up to do another enlistment with them, like just re-upped. And he says, I'm not taking the vaccine. He had re-signed his paperwork a couple weeks before. So I'm not taking it. We have on record that if you can prove that you've come down with a disease that you need to be vaccinated for in the military, that you don't have to take it because of the natural immunity properties of having something, getting over it. And there's precedent on record for all sorts of vaccines that the military makes you take. So he brought the receipts to them. Still kicked them out. But this is the greatest operational feat ever. The Biden administration literally forced people and forced companies to fire people that didn't want to take this experimental jab. The same jab that ended up not stopping you from getting COVID, not stopping you from spreading COVID. It literally, the only thing the jab did was it may or may not have cost you your job, depending on if you wanted to take it or not. Ridiculous. And he gets behind the podium and he brags about What a victory that was. What a victory. And then the Democrats, but right when Trump was saying, hey, this thing's going to be ready, I'm not taking a Trump vaccine. Follow the science. I'm not taking it from Trump. then the tables turn. Trump is out of office, and it's like, you're an anti-vaxxer. Didn't you say the same thing 2 months before? You did. And now it's the greatest operational victory for science. Thanks, Joe. Hey, let's check in with the Florida State Surgeon General on the latest COVID shots.
Based on the high rate of global immunity and data that exists, I recommend against the COVID-19 booster for people under 65 years old. Individuals age 65 or older should speak with their doctor, including about the concerns highlighted in the published guidance. To see the guidance which I referred to in this video, please visit www.floridahealthcovid19.gov. Thank you, and I wish you good health.
So the Florida State Surgeon General is recommending against the latest booster. Good to know. But this was the greatest feat. One of the things that Joe Biden is celebrating. But they are warning against you taking it if you're under 65. Interesting. Trust the science, not their science. Don't look at that science. Just trust this science over here. Doing big things in the government. Thanks, Joe. Just ineptitude and failure at every level of our government, it feels like at times. And I don't know, man. When people started getting fired over not taking the jab, I was pretty upset about it. Pretty upset. There's few things that made me more upset than that. People got hurt from this thing. They did. People quite literally got hurt because of this. And they can't sue the vaccine manufacturers. Vaccine companies got rich. Big money. Big money. And they don't work. So, I don't know. I don't have much else to say on that. But I did want to point out that that's our current leadership. That's the Democrats. Hey, did you see that Obama's chef, the 911 call came out? I want people to listen to this and tell me what they think. Does this make you more or less suspicious of the mysterious chef death at the Obama mansion? This is the 911 call, and there's a couple parts of this. I'm gonna play a bit of it, but as you listen to it, or if you've heard it, call me and tell me if it makes you more suspicious or less suspicious of what happened to the chef at the Obama's house.
911, the sign's recorded. Where is your emergency?
We have a male drowning in the back of the property right now. We have our rescue swimmers. They're attempting to go out there right now.
What's your phone number that you called in on?
Rescue swimmer and an agent driving down there right now to get on the boat. Someone came running up to our back post saying that a gentleman, it's just a guest of the house, is out there drowning. So right now, our rescue swimmer's going out there.
And you said you guys have boat access, so what do you guys need? Do you need an ambulance, or do you need water rescue as well?
They didn't advise right now. I would say at least an ambulance, and I don't know if what they're doing in the back of the property right now. I know we have our rescue swimmer who's getting the boat right now. So,
I mean, do you think that's more suspicious or less suspicious? I know when the chef died at the Obama property, everybody said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! How did the chef die?" And everybody thought it was quite odd. Quite odd. But after hearing the 911 call, do you find it more suspicious or less suspicious? I would like to know what you think. as we all know, it was Obama's personal chef, Tafari Campbell. He allegedly drowned while paddleboarding outside of the Obama's Martha's Vineyard estate. And as you know, the Obamas bought oceanfront property to keep an eye on the rising sea levels. They did that for us.
So selfless.
I mean, people can rag on him all they want. But I don't see anybody else buying oceanfront property to keep an eye on rising sea levels. That's just Obama things. And, you can listen to that. And so I'm seeing a lot of texts are coming in. All right. Super sus. 5364. Super sus.
90 suspicious for those wondering.
Yeah. 9083. Was he calling in a pizza order? He sounds very calm. He does sound calm. He sounds eerily calm. Part of me was, when I was thinking about the calmness, I would like to know what this guy's background is, right? He's got to have some sort of extensive background to be at the command center at Obama's Martha's Vineyard estate, right? So maybe he just wasn't panicked in that situation. I do agree. He sounded very calm. Was he calling in a pizza order? Sounded very calm. Shady AF says 4864. 0388 says the Obamas knew that he couldn't swim. 8710. They already had rescue divers? I thought that was interesting too. There's more. There's more from the 911 call here. Let's listen to this.
Sheriff's Office communication.
So our rescue swimmers aren't able to locate the gentleman that was reported drowning. So they're out in the water right now. But as of now, they don't know where he is.
He sounds very calm. Andrew in Winchester, what do you think about the Obama chef 911 call? More suspicious, less suspicious? What do you think?
More suspicious. It sounds like the guy's obviously trying to cover for something else. You can tell it almost sounds like he's making it up on the fly. Somebody tells him.
Really? Okay. Well, I totally get where you're at. Thanks for the call, Andrew. Yeah, I feel like my initial reaction is that this is much more suspicious. Much more suspicious. But then the devil's advocate in me says, the most likely situation is probably the correct one, right? So, like, if you're going to be doing security detail at the Obamas, maybe you've seen combat, maybe you're a veteran, maybe somebody drowning doesn't freak you out. Maybe you know that you're making a call to 911, you got to stay calm. I don't know. The super text line says, this is very suspicious. Multiple texts saying very, very suspicious. Steve from Lebanon said, I wonder if the Obama's 911 caller got his technique from Ted Kennedy. Maybe he did. Chad, the limo guy, says maybe the chef had some dirt on the Clintons. He said, I have information that will lead to Hillary Clinton's arrest. Be right back. Going paddleboarding. Many comments on the Clintons. 5410. At least the Clintons taught the Obamas something. 7007. Obama taking a page out of the Clinton handbook. 4702. It would have been better if Hillary Clinton's voice was on the 911 call. So funny. The biggest takeaway right now is that Obama learned something from Hillary Clinton. That's what the super text line says, at least. Lindsay in Pleasant Shade, your thoughts on the Obama chef 911 call. What's up, Lindsay? You're on Super Talk.
I think it's definitely very suspicious. And I'm wondering what this dude is out there, this chef is doing paddle boating without a life jacket. What, he can't swim?
Oh, come on.
He's out there paddle boating?
You gotta push your boundaries and test your limits, right, Lindsay?
With a life jacket on, especially if you do. I think Obama's still pulling the strings behind the walls around here. But that's beside the point.
No, hey, I totally agree with you. It's Obama's third term, Lindsay.
I agree. And I'm just wondering what some dude. I had grandparents that used to go out on a fishing boat, and because they couldn't swim, they would snick us up in life jackets till we about couldn't breathe. How is this dude out there without a life jacket? And just what, falls out of his paddle boat?
It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. It's
suspicious.
It's very, very suspicious. Thanks for the call, Lindsay. It gets even weirder. They go on to say that he's wearing all black, no life jacket, and at one point the 911 operator says, "Have you found the paddleboard?" Literally.
What?
That's the question. Have you recovered the paddleboard? We have. The paddleboard was not lost. So. Yeah, everybody pointing out the chef did take swimming lessons. He documented on his socials. Even your mom chimed in, Mac. She said,
oh, there she is, yeah.
The chef was an accomplished swimmer. Oh, 4410. He didn't have a life vest on, but 4410 said he did have on his safety cement shoes.
Oh, darn.
Remember, kids, don't go paddleboarding without your safety cement shoes. Brought to you by the Clintons. 1021 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The CDC is out with an alert that says supply isn't keeping up with demand. We'll tell you about it at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It's Chris Hand on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. We're talking about Obama's chef, who was out paddleboarding without a life vest. But one super texter did point out that he had on his safety cement shoes. So we don't know how this could have happened. The 911 calls have been released. The 911 calls are strange. This is another portion of the 911 call for you.
Sheriff's Office communication.
So our rescue swimmers aren't able to locate the gentleman that was reported drowning. So they're out in the water right now. But as of now, they don't know where he is.
Okay, so they're unable to locate the party right now.
Correct.
Okay. Do you have any description of what he was wearing?
Do we know what he was wearing, Nick? Give me a second.
Cement shoes.
Stand by, I'll let you know in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's wearing all black. He was on a paddleboard. He's a 40-ish-year-old black gentleman, regular build. And we have our rescue swimmers on a boat in the area right now.
Okay. And they haven't located the paddleboard either.
1 second.
They haven't located the paddleboard? Hang on, let me check.
Payne from Command Post. Have you located the paddleboard?
I mean, the guy's at the bottom of a lake right now.
Copy, thank you. All right, so they have the paddleboard and his hat.
Phew. They got the paddleboard.
Oh, thank God.
It just seems a little sketchy. Cecil in Smyrna, what do you think about the Obama chef? Cecil, you're on Super Talk. What's up?
I think it's a Dick Cheney situation. Don't go hunting with anything pertaining to any type of political stuff, especially if they're socialists. You might as well just say that Dick Cheney and the president. What was his president?
Bush.
Can't even think of his name. Bush. Yes, Bush raised Obama. He's giving candy and everything. So I think it's one of those type of situations, and probably was like a Steve Harvey situation. Cook probably got fresh with Michelle or something like that, and somebody kind of rubbed him off or anything, though. But with Secret Service all the way around there, I think that would be a problem for somebody to go out. Somebody can infiltrate them coming back with the same clothing and get access to the house. What you think?
Yeah,
Secret Service would be all over that.
I would think so. It definitely seems weird, but I think you make a good point. Don't go hunting with a Cheney. Don't go paddleboarding with an Obama. I think that's
another Clinton body count. I guess Obama started this body count.
I don't know. Thanks for the call, Cecil. I don't know if we can put this one on the Clintons. Everybody keeps pointing out Hillary Clinton. I don't know. I don't know if we can add it to the Clinton body count list, but the Obama list. The Obama list is getting a little long. A lot of coincidences.
We can't put it on both their lists.
Well, I don't know how you can put the Obama chef on there.
I think we just want to.
I don't think that's fair. Hillary's list is getting too long anyway.
Oh, that's more than a list now.
It's a scroll.
Yes. Yes.
It is a scroll that just goes all the way down the floor, like down the hallway.
I have a feeling we'll be seeing more of her soon.
Oh, we will, actually. In fact, she was giving a speech, old Hill Dog, and she was hanging out with some of the girls, and she was totally interrupted by a gentleman who was calling her out for being a warmonger. This audio is unreal. You think the chef audio is something?
Ooh.
This guy gets up, starts screaming at Hill Dog for like 3-4 minutes. There was no security at this event to the point where even people in the crowd were trying to like calm this guy down. He was like, no, I'm not calming down. You need to denounce Biden and Obama. You're getting us into World War III. And he just roasts her for like 4 minutes. She's going back and forth with this guy. And I'll do the audio for you right after the news, which happens now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
10:30 on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast in 2 minutes. CDC alert. Ariel Reshef says RSV vaccine supply isn't keeping up with demand.
This is happening just as we are gearing up for RSV season. The CDC issuing that alert for medical professionals to prioritize infants under 6 months or those with underlying health conditions to receive that RSV monoclonal antibody shot due to limited supply. The maker of the new vaccine for infants, called Beyfortus, says demand is far higher than they expected.
Yeah, the agency recommends that shot for infants under 8 months. An IT issue may mean delays for certain package deliveries. FedEx says there was a system outage at the Memphis hub last night impacting deliveries for today. Another day of testimony in New York by Donald Trump's former fixer Michael Cohen in the civil trial against his former boss. Cohen under cross-examination. After testifying yesterday, he felt pressured to inflate Trump's wealth and that he manipulated financial statements to reflect that. And that's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. There was a recent study by J.D. Power looking at how happy investors were with their advisors, and it wasn't pretty. What they found was only 11% of the respondents said that they were getting comprehensive financial planning, that the fees were clear, and that they felt that the advisor was acting in their best interest. Not a good picture, 11%. Now, one of the things that we do is we do comprehensive planning. We fit all of those bills, number one. But one of the things I want to talk about is in the financial planning process, what I think it ought to look like and what is available that people aren't getting. And one of the things is called probability analysis. So in essence, this is what we're talking about. We're trying to accumulate money for retirement, put money aside, hoping that we'll have enough so that we can have income throughout retirement. And what we find is that people have Social Security, they have pensions in their financial plan, and they also have investments. Now, with their investments, we want to do something very specific that it really requires quite an academic background to do this. And this is where we look at the cost of capital of the various things that you own in your investment portfolio. It sounds scary, it sounds really detailed, but here's the idea. Is if we look at various asset classes like large stocks and small stocks and large value and bonds and so on and so forth, we know the expected return or the cost that these entities have to pay to use your money. So we can come up with an expected return of the portfolio. We can also come up with what's called standard deviation, or how much that portfolio return may deviate from the expected return. Now that's a whole other video, but what I want to do is show you how we use this. If I look at a financial plan and I say, well, you got this area, this area, this area, what I can do is I can say, well, based on when you want to retire, this is how much income you can take, and here's the likelihood of being able to have this income survive throughout your entire life. And the way it works is this. If I take a portfolio and I say, there's the expected return, I can look at history and say, well, the way your portfolio is designed, how might your one-year returns vary from the expected return, the long-term expected return? Well, what we know from academic research is that portfolios well designed and properly managed in ways that I can't get into right now, it's too complicated, portfolios actually close in an expected return, but we don't know what the short-term returns are going to be. So what we do is we project out and say, well, what if the return that happened in 1936 is followed by the return that happened in 1975, which is followed by the return in 1995, or what if it's reversed? What if they happen in different orders? And we can do 1,000 iterations, different variations on when those and how those returns may come in. And what that does is, because we can't predict the future, what return's going to follow the other, we can figure out Is it likely that we are going to be able to take the income that we need throughout retirement from this portfolio? And if not, how can we rearrange the furniture or the portfolio to give us a higher likelihood of success? And we look at life expectancies, we look at a lot of different things, but this is what is available to people that they're not getting from the financial planning community. If you want to know more, go to paulwinkler.com, set up a free 15-minute phone call, paulwinkler.com, and come in and find out more about what we do.
Hey, it's Chris Hand for my friends at Paul Winkler, Inc. I got 4 kids. Me and my wife, we have to have a financial plan for the future because the future's uncertain. So with 4 kids, I'm thinking about possibly paying for college, hopefully paying for some weddings, and, none of those goals are going to be achievable without a financial plan. And I've been a listener of Paul's radio show since I moved to Nashville quite a few years ago, like 8 years ago now. So after getting to meet with him and realizing he's the same guy I heard on the air, smart, honest, and legit, I was all in. And Paul and his team hold themselves to a higher level of fiduciary standard than is required. Because of that, government regulators do what government regulators do, and I'm required to tell you that I'm paid every time this commercial airs. But it's because I got to sit down with Paul, break bread, have my questions answered, that I decided to become a client myself. I'm impressed with Paul's team and his knowledge. Paul's a smart guy. He knows the financial world way better than I do. And with Paul and his team, I say this a lot, nothing is done on commission. It's so important to me because I know that they're helping me make the right decisions for my family, not helping me make the right decisions for their family. That's huge. Huge. He's made my financial goals far more realistic by explaining what to do and why. The investment education is evidence-based and backed by Nobel Prize-winning research. So do what I did. Check them out. Every office run by a degreed planner with over 20 years of experience. You can feel the difference between Paul's team and the rest. So do what I did. Talk to one of his team members. Set up a complimentary 15-minute phone call on his website, paulwinkler.com. That's paulwinkler.com, or call 615-851-1950. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. So yesterday, Hillary Clinton is getting those big money speech payments. You know, she goes, she sits down with the ladies, she does a little speech, a little shindig for a friendly audience, gets her check and goes home. It's a good gig. I'm not knocking her for that. I think we should all strive to make thousands upon thousands of dollars in speaking fees. I think it's a good goal. Hey, we want you to come sit in a room and just say the same thing you say all the time, and we'll pay you $45,000. All right, cool.
Oh, okay, cool. Sounds good.
Cool. That's pretty dope. So anyway, normally these events go off without a hitch. You know, they say things like, "We believe in equality." Everybody's like, "Oh yeah." You know, they say, Let's make everything more inclusive. Like, oh yeah. You know, they'll say green energy. Oh yeah. You know, I did good things as a Secretary of State. Sure did. Don't bring up Benghazi. Sure did. You know, all that kind of stuff. But yesterday, as Hillary is going through the motions and getting paid big bucks, she was interrupted by an anti-war protester, and things got out of hand pretty quick. And they didn't get back in hand for quite a while. This is what it sounded like yesterday with Hill Dog and the gang.
Struck by the hypocrisy of this.
Two more people to hear from.
I'm sorry.
You have a chance. Well, I'm not sorry. Sit down.
I know you're not sorry. That's the point. The hypocrisy of this speech. The hypocrisy of the fact that what do you have? Can you please make a statement about President Joe Biden's speech? This is a clearly warmongering speech. President Joe Biden is calling for $100 billion of funding for Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine, and we're supposed to just bundle these together and pretend like we're going to rush to World War III, and we're all just going to let Hillary Rodham Clinton sit here. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So somebody walks up not security, just another guy that's at the event. He's like, "Hey, pal, chill, bro." And he was not chilling. I do point out this guy. I don't know. He didn't jump off the page to me and scream conservative. Just by looking at him, and I don't judge books by covers, but I do look at covers. So I'm looking at this guy, and he doesn't scream conservative. If I saw him on the street, I would probably think he was a liberal. But he brings up good points. It does seem like we're rushing into war. It does seem like Joe Biden was warmongering in the speech that he gave to the nation last week from the Oval Office. And kudos to this guy, basically fearless, getting right up in Hillary Clinton's grill and calling her out on it. And there's no security around. There is no security around. This goes on. That was 30 seconds of it. What it looked like transpired is the man was in a line to ask questions, and then he just never gave up his position. And that was the first 30 seconds. It goes on for another 3 minutes.
Yes. This is not. This is not the way to have a conversation.
I'm sorry.
If you want to have a conversation, you're welcome to come talk to me afterwards.
You can sit here. Okay, right. You're gonna wait for me, right? Please, I do not believe you.
Listen to you, and I will respond.
I do not believe you. Respectfully, I do not believe you. And the fact of the matter is that the American people's voice are what need to be heard.
Yeah,
because our president is not speaking for the American people, and neither are you.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Yes, that's my opinion.
Well, then sit down. We've heard your opinion. Thank you very much. Now we're going to.
I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop intervening.
I love it. Sit down. We've heard your opinion. I'm not going to sit down. I'm not going to stop. She doesn't rebuttal him at all. She just says, "Okay, we've heard you. Enough. She scolds him the way a mother scolds her young.
I'm going to wait here. I'm going to exercise my free speech until
it's not free speech when you are disrupting
yes,
everybody else's opportunity.
It is free speech. This is free speech, everyone. This is free speech. That is not free speech. This is people constructing narratives that are openly hypocritical. I'm sorry. The incredible hypocrisy. You tell me John Foster Dulles went with Eleanor Roosevelt to bring this Declaration of the Rights of Man. John Foster Dulles was involved with the CIA.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're brilliant in your historical
yes, thank you. And the Pinochet regime. Could you please inform me about the United States involvement in these historical things?
We're going to move on.
Miss Clinton, will you denounce Joe Biden? Will you denounce Joe Biden's speech?
Will you denounce Joe Biden's speech? She wouldn't. Keith texted and he said, maybe this guy should be House Speaker. Maybe he should. Larry said, look for this guy to commit suicide later today. It's 2286 and 7007. You guys are on the same wavelength. 2286 said, dude will be going paddleboarding. 7007 says, does he paddleboard? You guys are hilarious. But, I mean, this guy does not give up. Kudos to him. He went in there with an absolute game plan to disrupt, to call out the regime and call them on their hypocrisy. And he did that. And he wasn't going to be silenced.
Not just yelling about it. So, Frank, I want to turn to you because you are from Uganda.
So they try to get the event going.
What I want to hear is for Hillary Rodham to denounce President Joe Biden's war-mongering
conduct
He's
in
trying
Uganda.
to push us to World War III. Do you understand?
I love it. She says, oh, please. Oh, please. Everybody on the super text line says, get a new name on the Clinton scroll. Steve said, does he have concrete sneakers on? 2205 says, hopefully that guy has a blue roof on his house. That's a
good one.
The blue roof is a space laser joke in case you're new to the show.
That's a deep cut.
Yeah, that's a deep cut joke. 2205. When Maui happened, everybody said it was space lasers, and then the theory was you don't You don't need blue stuff. It wouldn't burn blue stuff if it's a space laser. So that's why he's saying get a blue roof. Keith says, so she says it isn't free speech when you're interrupting a session, but it was free speech in the Nashville Capitol at Bullhorns.
Bingo.
Yeah, Keith, you're on point. Yeah.
That's it. That's it, Keith.
Yeah, see, this isn't hard.
Come on,
this
man.
This isn't hard to understand.
Got this.
Bullhorns, free speech. Asking people to denounce war, not free speech. They literally tried their best to keep this speech, panel going. But this guy was the most persistent man in the history of interrupting politicians. It's just, he keeps going. Even Hillary's, oh, please.
Oh, do you understand? It's not about Israel and Palestine. It's not football. This isn't football. It's not Team America.
Well, I'm sorry, but...
Do you hear the guy in the background? He said, you are disrupting the event. Please sit down. Listen, I felt bad. I felt bad for the guy who's like, bro, I kind of agree with you, but like, please sit down. Please sit down.
Well, I'm sorry, but some of us are on Team America despite our flaws and our problems.
Yes, that's me.
Oh, Hillary, when you think Team America, you think Hillary Rodham Clinton.
Some of us are on Team America despite our flaws and our problems.
Yes, that's me.
Please sit down. You're going to have to do something. You can't take over the event. You have to stop right now. You have to stop.
Or what? I'm going to exercise
interrupting your event.
So then Hillary's friend, who's also on the stage, starts carrying water for her. Listen to this.
Every person on this stage has risked their life, their income, their reputation, their careers, and what have you done?
Every person on this stage has risked their life, their incomes, and their careers, and what have you done? Says Hillary Clinton's BFF. I feel like that's a trash take.
Garbage.
I will point out again, books, covers. The majority of the ladies on the stage have not my president haircuts. I don't expect the majority of them to have risked their lives or incomes to be on Team America. It always cracks me up. We've all risked our lives and our incomes. You can keep screaming that you're part of the resistance. But when the corporations are on your side, when the media is on your side, when Big Pharma is on your side, when the military-industrial complex is on your side, I'm sorry, you are not the resistance. You're not. You're not. And I don't take what Hillary Clinton's done as risking her income or her life. Hillary Clinton, what a trash take. The Clintons have made so much money with the Clinton Global Initiatives, the Clinton Foundation, so much money. So much money. They risked their income. Everyone on this stage has risked their income. We put our cats at risk.
Has risked their life, their income, their reputation, their careers, and what have you done other than stand up and
I need you to.
All the seals clapping.
You have to listen to me.
records against you any
You're disrupting
day
the
of
event.
the year.
I'll respond. What I have done is I have asked Hillary Rodham Clinton to denounce the president's openly warmongering, suicidal, idiotic speech.
And
That's
I've
what
given
I've
my
asked.
answer. I will
That's
not
what
do
I've
that.
done.
So that's the end of our conversation.
Okay,
but I'll still meet you
I need your
outside. But you're
identification
done.
right now.
Catch me outside. How about that? That's what Hillary said. Catch me outside. 96.73. Risked income. They all got rich. I'll take that risk. 94.95 said, does he have any idea how many servers Hillary sacrificed for this country? Yep. Everybody says he's risking suicide.
Yeah. That's the truth. Risking income.
Brian texted, he said, whoever paid to see Hillary's speech got their money's worth thanks to this guy. 100%. What have you done? He's like, I'll respond. I've interrupted this speech for about 4 minutes. I've asked Hillary to denounce the warmongering of the Biden administration. Yeah, I think that's pretty based. He said, "I'll still meet you outside. I'll meet you outside." If Hillary Clinton never says to you, run, run as fast as you can. Oh, geez. Nightmare fuel. I like this guy. I like culture jamming. I approve of peaceful interruptions. And you know, I do. I agree with this guy a lot.
Yeah, 3989 says maybe risk the lives of others, but not themselves.
Yeah. Todd texted in. Todd's here. He said she risked those 8 people in Benghazi.
Bingo.
She did. 94.95. Can anyone comment? Can anyone confirm his whereabouts after the speech? I don't know. They'll probably find the paddleboard first. 10:50 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There is a new statement from Metro Nashville Police Chief John Drake after the manhunt for his estranged son, and it's ending. CDC alert about a vaccine. These stories and more at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver. It is 10:57 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. Something to look forward to later today. Biden was meeting with the Australian Prime Minister, drinking a Foster's, kicking back with some Kookaburra wings, doing Australian things. And he says that he won't take any questions because he's going to have a press conference later. This is Joe Biden.
We're going to we're going to have a press conference after this. We'll be able to answer your questions. Thank you.
Whoa. Calm down, Jack. We'll get to your questions later.
Yeah.
Once I have the list of who I'm allowed to ask for questions.
Yeah. Step back, Jack.
Calm down there, guys. He even put his hand, whoa.
Yeah.
Not all at once. Actually, nobody at all. Nobody at all. This was him rambling. I know, it's shocking. Our president rambling?
What?
Yes, this was him rambling with the Australian Prime Minister about, you guessed it, climate change.
Thank you for your move on climate. It's a big deal, including launching the new climate minerals and clean energy compact, because you have great assets that we can all use to make sure that we move in the direction of clean energy. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you catch any of that?
Just a lot of mumbling.
I like that he compliments Australia's great assets. I thought that was nice.
AC/DC? I'll go for that.
When it comes to Biden and foreign policy, he certainly gets an A+. At least that's what John Kirby said yesterday at the press conference, and I'll have the audio from that for you right after Ken Weaver's news, which starts right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Eleven o'clock on the dot this Wednesday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Well, you can add Murfreesboro and all of Rutherford County to the burn ban list in Tennessee. All outdoor burning, including for recreation, such as fire pits, is banned until further notice. Full forecast coming up in 2 minutes. Metro Nashville Police Chief John Drake out with a statement following his estranged son's apparent suicide. Chief Drake expressing gratitude to members of law enforcement and appreciation for the condolences and kind words of support as he and his family privately mourn their loss. Police say John Drake Jr. shot himself and died in Edgewood after leading police on a short chase last night. He had been on the run since 2 Laverne police officers were shot on Saturday. Right now across the nation, the CDC out with a new health alert due to an RSV vaccine supply shortage. Ariel Reshif with more.
News of the short supply comes as doctors see a rise in cases in some parts of the country. The CDC saying there may be different options for your child if Beyfortus isn't available. And bottom line, the agency still recommends that shot for infants under 8 months, but says infants at most risk should be prioritized. The manufacturer says it is working to keep up with demand.
Yeah, Beyfortus says demand is far higher than they expected. The CDC alert instructs doctors to prioritize infants under 6 months old, even though it's recommended for babies under 8 months old. All ears and eyes on Capitol Hill today when the House votes on a new GOP Speaker nominee, Mike Johnson of Louisiana.
Republican nominee for Speaker. He wins on the third ballot with 128 Republicans supporting him, but 44 Republicans voted for another candidate not named in the running.
That's Jay O'Brien reporting. And right now in New York, former President Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen under cross-examination as he testifies against his former boss in that civil fraud trial. Israel-Hamas war, Ian Pannell.
We're getting news of a meeting that's taken place in Beirut, Lebanon, between Hezbollah, Hamas and Islamic Jihad, 3 terrorist organizations, according to the US. Not clear when it took place, but the head of Hezbollah saying they're now going to work together and discussing next steps they're going to take against Israel.
That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey everybody, Dan Mattis with Nashville's Morning News on WTN. I'm here at the Nashville Rescue Mission doing the interviews that I look forward to doing every single year. These are incredible stories of people who have had amazing recoveries. Thanks to this amazing facility, they are able to get clean and lead a more productive life. The date of our annual radiothon is going to be Monday, November 20th. Listen in and please donate. You can get more information at 99.7 WTN, including a link to the website for Nashville's Rescue Mission.
Hey, it's Chris Hand from my friends at USS, United Structural Systems. Now, you've heard the commercials on USS for years, just like I did before I worked here at Super Talk. And it wasn't until I found out the guys at USS are just like they say on the commercials, honest, hardworking, good guys, that I got to endorse them, and I'm so happy to team up with them. They're going to be doing an encapsulation on my crawl space, and they can do the same for you. They will tell you exactly what you need. They'll make a custom plan for your house, and they'll fix the problems that you're facing. Now, if you're noticing water in your crawl space, if you're noticing wet basement walls, cracks in your basement floors, that's your house trying to tell you something, and you should give the guys at USS a call to check it out. 615-488-7855, whatever you need, whether it's foundation repair, sinkhole remediation, basement wall realignment, crawl space encapsulation, they can do it all. 615-488-7855. With 25,000 satisfied customers in Middle Tennessee, I am confident you will be 25,001. Call USS today, 615-488-7855, or online, USSTN.com. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 1106. Chris Hand in the building. Hope you are having a fantastic day. If you're just joining us, hopping out on your lunch break, we do have a new speaker designate. His name is Mike Johnson. And everybody on the Super Text line has been making Mike Jones jokes. Who? Mike Jones. Who's a rapper who's had a famous line. Who? Mike Jones. You remember that, right, Mac?
Of course.
Okay. Well, I made this for fun.
Back then they didn't want me, now I'm hungry all morning. Before I came up in the game, nobody showed me love.
Professor Turley ended this way, and I will too. He said, quote, despite my disagreement with many of President Trump's policies and statements, impeachment was never intended to be used as a midterm corrective option for a divisive or unpopular leader, unquote. Look, we get it. You don't like him. That doesn't mean you can banish him from the marketplace. You can't send him out of his businesses and say he can't hold a position of honor or trust. You don't get the right to do that. The people of this country do. We live in a republic. I'm just sick of this. I yell back.
I said before the ice was in my grill, before I got my major deal, these girls didn't give a damn if I was here. I said before the ice was in my grill, before I got my major deal, these girls
Who? Mike Johnson is from Louisiana. He is our new speaker designate. That was him on Trump's impeachment. Just getting flustered. I dug back on Mike Johnson and found a bunch of his statements. He seems awesome. So awesome to the point where I'm like, yeah, he's probably not going to be the Speaker of the House. But the vote is happening at noon. Matt Murphy will be in here. He will keep you updated on the score as it comes in live. And I know he's fired up and ready to talk about that with you. Yesterday, KJP, Karine Jean-Pierre, and John Kirby, they did their little joint press conference thing that they do every now and again. You know, like the press conferences where I feel like KJP is nervous to do it on her own, so she brings in Kirby. And KJP was nervous. Remember yesterday, I played you audio where she was asked about anti-Semitism, and she jumped right into Islamophobia. Remember that? But she opened up the press conference immediately after that press conference, apologizing for that.
At the top, because I understand. Make something clear at the top, because I understand how important moral clarity is, especially at this time. So when Jews are targeted because of their beliefs or their identity, when Israel is singled out because of anti-Jewish hatred, that is anti-Semitism.
I mean, so she didn't really apologize. It was like she was forced to apologize. The whole White House seems to be in the hashtag not all Muslims group once again. And it's just it's so weird to me because it seems like with the conflict in Israel and the war against Hamas, totally justified by Israel, it seems like the Biden administration has been carrying water for the Muslim community over this. But I haven't seen any backlash against the Muslim community. Nothing that like jumps out to me as alarming. You had that incident where there was a crazy man in Illinois who stabbed a young boy. Awful. Terrible. If you look at the guy, he looks insane. If it wasn't that pushed him over the edge, something else would have. He didn't seem like he was there. He seemed like an unhinged individual. But the White House doesn't cover any of these stories on anti-Semitism. The White House doesn't comment on the Turning Point USA staffer who was jumped escorting some elderly Jewish citizens to their car after a pro-Israel rally. He was jumped by pro-Hamas protesters. The White House says nothing. When they're waving Hamas flags on college campuses, the White House says nothing. So yesterday when Karine Jean-Pierre pivoted from a question about anti-Semitism to Islamophobia, it's like, dude, what are you doing? And then you find out a new report that the White House is holding wellness meetings for Muslim, Arab, and Palestinian aides. The White House senior staff reportedly held wellness meetings for aides who may be struggling with Israel's defensive measures taken against the Hamas terror group. The meetings, termed listening sessions, featured serious discussions about the war and its impact on White House aides, 8 officials told Politico. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan conducted one virtual wellness check staff meeting on October 13th. Listen to this. About 100 staffers attended. 100 White House staffers they need to have a wellness check and their feelings talked about over a conflict with a country and a terrorist group. You need a wellness check? You shouldn't even be, you should be nowhere near the White House. If you are working for the White House and a conflict pops off between another country, it doesn't matter what country, and a terrorist group, doesn't matter what terrorist group, and you need a wellness check, you should go work somewhere else. Take yourself to a less stressful field. 100 staffers attended a virtual wellness check. Got to check on everybody's feelings. The Biden administration's position on the war, while emphasizing this was a review. Politico described it as a review on the Biden administration's position on the war, while emphasizing that not everyone agrees with it and has their own strong personal feelings about the fighting. Oh, got to check on their feelings. One official told Politico that these wellness meetings focused on a pervasive culture of fear and a counteractive culture of support. This is ridiculous. If you are working in the White House and you can't handle external conflict, this isn't even conflict that America is absolutely involved in. Like we're not involved in this yet. Not 100% at least. We're sending some money. We're sending some weapons. I get that. I don't want to be involved any more than we are. But for all intents and purposes, we're not very involved right now. But they're holding wellness checks at the White House. Senior leaders wanted their team, many who have served in the region, have family and colleagues there, to know that these are tough times across the board and that we need to check on one another. I wish that we could not have taxpayer-funded wellness checks at the White House. It's just ridiculous to me. We need wellness checks. Got to check on some feelings. That's what your tax dollars are going to currently. Makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Thanks for checking on their feelings. John Kirby wouldn't say yesterday at the press briefing if the U.S. believes Qatar should expel the leaders of Hamas that are in their country. I've gone on and on about this. We know the leaders of Hamas are in Qatar. Everybody says, it's a humanitarian crisis in Gaza, but we don't go after the leadership in Qatar. Well, John Kirby was asked, does the U.S. believe Qatar should get rid of the Hamas leadership in their country? This was his reply.
I know that you've thanked Qatar for its role in helping to secure the release of some of the hostages so far, but I was wondering if the U.S. believes that Qatar should expel the Hamas leaders that are in the country right now.
I don't think. Well, I'll just say we're having conversations with partners across the region, and we know that Qatar has an open line of communication with Hamas. And as you saw, we thank Qatar for their support in helping get those two Americans out. I would just tell you that those discussions and those conversations are ongoing and critically important. And I think I need to leave it at that.
Yeah, you got to leave it there. Can't go too much into it, you know? It's ridiculous. The entire world knows that Hamas leadership is in Qatar. Hamas is the problem. Let's bomb the hell out of Gaza. We know leadership is over here. Let's send our bombs over there. Listen, you want to rally and beat the war drum? I get it. I totally support Israel's right to defend itself. I do. But go after the leadership. It's ridiculous. We know where they are. Guaranteed they have intelligence on that. Guaranteed. How could they not? But nothing gets done. You can't have a forever war if you take out the leadership in the first couple weeks, right? This is Joe Biden's foreign policy for you. It is ridiculous. You know, meanwhile, John Kirby is asked about Joe Biden managing foreign policy and international and domestic chaos in the midst of all of it during his presidency. and asked to give Joe Biden a grade.
Sort of as you have the Australian Prime Minister coming tomorrow in the midst of all of this activity around the Middle East, can you just give us a sense from the president's perspective, how is he balancing these two sort of immediate foreign policy objectives versus sort of his longer term foreign policy objectives that the Prime Minister's visit sort of embodies?
Well, he's balancing it well. He's doing it. I mean, if you want to give him a report card, A+. I mean,
A+. John Kirby gives Joe Biden an A+ on foreign policy. A+. Just A+. What would you give Joe Biden's grade on foreign policy? I could only imagine that gonna see letters a little bit further down the alphabet.
I'd imagine.
I mean, let's go through it. We give billions to Iran for hostages. That's great. We have the sloppy withdrawal from Afghanistan. Terrible. We leave billions of military equipment behind in Afghanistan. Ukraine, the Ukraine conflict. I mean, what am I missing? Have there been any victories in Joe Biden's foreign policy? 9550 says green ribbon for participation. This is why I love the super text line. 9550. You get the green ribbon for participation today. Yes. 9550.
0467 D-. Wow. Passed.
That's a lot better than 9058's Z-. It's incrementally better. 0467 and 9058 have a different view.
I think overall it is
yeah. I mean, an A+. I'd give him an A.
He's doing it. I mean, if you want to give him a report card, A+. I mean, he's commander in chief. That never stops, and the duties and responsibilities are literally global. I mean, we are one nation that has truly global responsibilities, and he's managing it all.
Yeah, we're the one nation that's the world police, baby, and he's managing it all, except when he's on the beach, and when he goes to Camp David, when he's in Rehoboth, he goes to Camp David. Where'd he go? What lake did he go to? He went to some fancy lake in California. Like right before he went to Hawaii, he went to some, what lake was it? Do you remember that one?
No, he takes too many vacations.
He's been on so many vacations.
I can't keep track of these.
A+.
Literally A+.
Literally A+. It's 11:20 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. This is the Chris Hand Show. Find me on Twitter, Instagram, True Social. All of them are the same, at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. It's Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
We really are passionate about our state. It's so beautiful, and we just want people and all Tennesseans to help us keep it that way. We really want to make sure that, our beauty, and from, west to east to even middle Tennessee, we want to make sure it's nice and clean for everyone to enjoy. I like to get people to volunteer and to get out there and keep our world clean, man. Litter's disgusting. No one likes it.
That's right. Yeah, if you ask my wife, I've always said, keep Tennessee beautiful. That's kind of been, I think I found a t-shirt or something a long time ago.
It's that marketing.
Yeah.
Really good job.
It's like,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no sense in throwing your trash out the window or when you're hunting or fishing, leaving the trash there on the bank or whatever. It's not worth it.
Currently, there are 88 million pieces of litter on Tennessee roadways at any given time in this state.
Wow.
And TDOT currently spends $23 million on picking up the litter, educating about the litter.
The Nobody Trashes Tennessee campaign, there's some great videos out
Yes.
there. And I was watching the litter, the lessons and the show, and get to know the Red Plastic Cup. Tell us a bit about the campaign and some of those characters. That's pretty neat.
So Red Plastic Cup, he thinks he's a movie star.
Uh-huh.
He thinks, he's just the greatest thing ever. So he started off with a talk show, and then he got a movie. And in our movie, he got, more characters, and we had experts, water quality expert was Sal, the smallmouth bass.
Yeah.
And his bodyguard is Trash Watch. And if, we can go into Trash Watch a little bit too, but love Trash Watch.
Got a crash that is affecting the East Loop downtown going eastbound. The center lane blocked right there at Shelby Avenue. The persistent dry weather in Tennessee has that burn ban list growing. We'll tell you the latest bans and what U.S.-led forces are having to do in Iraq and Syria at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Ken Weaver, and a special thank you to all the super texters. I couldn't remember what vacation Fancy Lake that Biden goes to, and it was Lake Tahoe.
Tahoe. Well, when you take, 70-11 vacations, it's easy. It's hard to keep track.
It was Lake Tahoe. I do remember that.
Although he calls it Tally-Ho.
Lake Tally-Ho. Did he really say that?
No, I'm just joking.
Okay, I was like, it's believable. It's absolutely
seriously.
believable.
You're like, really?
It would never surprise me that he could find new ways to disappoint me. This is, yeah, it was Lake Tahoe, Tally-Ho. If I recall correctly, the residents around Lake Tahoe didn't even want him there. Said, couldn't he go somewhere else? He causes a lot of traffic, and nobody really likes him. So, could he go somewhere else? He didn't. He didn't go anywhere else. He still went where the people didn't want him. This was the people in Lake Tahoe when he was showing up uninvited.
It's not bad whenever you can host a dignitary like a president, but it also builds a lot of traffic in the area that's really not needed right now.
Sheffield also questions the purpose and timing of Biden's trip.
There's some world events and there's some U.S. events. How about the southern border? How about our economy?
Well, he's got to take a break. Also, the A+ was for foreign policy, so southern border economy. We don't know what John Kirby's grade is on that. Just to be fair.
The guy's like, yeah, having the president here is like cool, but like driving, my commute home's going to be kind of screwed. So
gas is like $7 around Lake Tahoe, No big deal. I guess we'll have them. It's going to be awful, but we'll hold our nose and deal with it, I guess. We don't have any other choice here in Lake Tahoe. John Kirby was also asked during the press conference yesterday if they were turning a blind eye to Iran.
I want to be clear here. Nobody's turning a blind eye to Iran's complicity. Their support for these militia groups in Iraq and Syria, their support for terrorists throughout the region. We have addressed that through additional sanctions. We have addressed it through additional military force posture. We're obviously going to do what we have to do to protect ourselves and our troops. Nobody's at all turning away from that threat or their historic and sustained support for these terrorist groups.
Historic and sustained support for terrorist groups. We're not turning a blind eye to the complicity in that. We did give them $6 billion last month for hostages. Before that, we also stopped enforcing sanctions on Iranian oil, which was like that totaled like $80 billion. But that is not turning a blind eye to Iran's complicity. They're just following the Obama pallets of cash playbook. So it's very, very different than turning a blind eye to their complicity. They see the complicity and they just continue to give them money. That's what I got from that. I don't know. Did you get anything else from that? Seemed like that's what it was. Karine Jean-Pierre was also asked about Biden's energy policies and if they have enriched the Iranian regime.
I want to ask you about current energy prices and Iran, if I could. So Iran makes 70% of its revenue from oil. It's doubled that oil output since 2019, adding $40 billion to revenues. So are the president's current energy policies giving Iran enough money to fund terror groups?
Good question.
Because the price of oil has gone up under this president. The former President Trump, the average price of Brent oil was $58. Under this president, it's $83 a barrel. So the price of oil is more. Is that giving Iran enough money to fund these terror groups in the Middle East?
I wholeheartedly disagree that our actions are giving. Is that what you're saying? Can you say that again?
The current energy.
That was Karine Jean-Pierre trying to come up with an answer in her head. She realized I am woefully unprepared for this question. And I'm going to need you to ask it again while I buy some time and get the gears cranking. We're also going to buy some time. We'll play the other part of Karine Jean-Pierre's answer right after Ken Weaver's news, which happens right now on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
11:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got a traffic backup. East Loop downtown going eastbound. The center 2 lanes are blocked by a crash right there at Shelby Avenue. The burn ban list is growing in Tennessee. Murfreesboro and Rutherford County now issuing bans on all outdoor burning, including for recreational purposes like fire pits. That ban in effect until decent rain, which we'll tell you about during the full forecast in 2 minutes. Also in Nashville, Metro Police Chief John Drake out with a new statement after a son's apparent suicide. Chief Drake says it wasn't the outcome he prayed for, and he thanked the members of law enforcement for, as he put it, working diligently to try to bring his son into custody without anyone getting hurt. John Drake Jr. died last night after police say he shot himself while hiding from police officers he had led on a chase to Edgewood. John Drake Jr. was wanted for the shooting that injured 2 Laverne police officers on Saturday. Israel-Hamas war. Fox News says U.S.-led forces have begun live fire exercises in Iraq and Syria after 14 attacks on American bases. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hi, I'm Paul Winkler. There was a recent study by J.D. Power looking at how happy investors were with their advisors, and it wasn't pretty. What they found was only 11% of the respondents said that they were getting comprehensive financial planning, that the fees were clear, and that they felt that the advisor was acting in their best interest. not a good picture, 11%. Now, one of the things that we do is we do comprehensive planning. We fit all of those bills, number one. But one of the things I want to talk about is in the financial planning process, what I think it ought to look like and what is available that people aren't getting. And one of the things is called probability analysis. So in essence, this is what we're talking about. We're trying to accumulate money for retirement, put money aside, hoping that we'll have enough so that we can have income throughout retirement. And what we find is that people have Social Security, they have pensions in their financial plan, and they also have investments. Now, with their investments, we want to do something very specific that it really requires quite an academic background to do this. And this is where we look at the cost of capital of the various things that you own in your investment portfolio. It sounds scary, it sounds really detailed, but here's the idea. Is if we look at various asset classes like large stocks and small stocks and large value and bonds and so on and so forth, we know the expected return or the cost that these entities have to pay to use your money. So we can come up with an expected return of the portfolio. We can also come up with what's called standard deviation, or how much that portfolio return may deviate from the expected return. Now that's a whole other video, but what I want to do is show you how we use this. If I look at a financial plan and I say, well, you got this area, this area, this area, what I can do is I can say, well, based on when you want to retire, this is how much income you can take, and here's the likelihood of being able to have this income survive throughout your entire life. And the way it works is this. If I take a portfolio and say, there's the expected return, I can look at history and say, well, the way your portfolio is designed, how might your one-year returns vary from the expected return, the long-term expected return? Well, what we know from academic research is that portfolios well designed and properly managed in ways that I can't get into right now, it's too complicated, portfolios actually close in an expected return, but we don't know what the short-term returns are going to be. So what we do is we project out and say, well, what if the return that happened in 1936 is followed by the return that happened in 1975, which is followed by the return in 1995, or what if it's reversed? What if they happen in different orders? And we can do 1,000 iterations, different variations on when those and how those returns may come in. And what that does is, because we can't predict the future, what return is going to follow the other, we can figure out, is it likely that we are going to be able to take the income that we need throughout retirement from this portfolio? And if not, how can we rearrange the furniture or the portfolio to give us a higher likelihood of success? And we look at life expectancies, we look at a lot of different things, but this is what is available to people that they're not getting from the financial planning community. If you want to know more, go to paulwinkler.com, set up a free 15-minute phone call, paulwinkler.com, and come in and find out more about what we do.
$11:36 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. What's going on? It's Chris Hand. Karine Jean-Pierre at her press conference yesterday was just absolutely flustered. She was asked a question that she didn't know the answer to, and to the point where she made the guy ask the question again. Not for a lack of hearing, but for a lack of an answer. She needed to come up with something. Here's that question.
I want to ask you about current energy prices and Iran, if I could. So Iran makes 70% of its revenue from oil. It's doubled that oil output since 2019, adding $40 billion to revenues. So are the president's current energy policies giving Iran enough money to fund terror groups? Because the price of oil has gone up under this president. The former President Trump, the average price of Brent oil was $58. Under this president, it's $83 a barrel. So the price of oil is more. Is that giving Iran enough money to fund these terror groups in the Middle East?
I mean, I wholeheartedly disagree that our actions are giving. Is that what you're saying? Can you say that again?
The current energy policies in the U.S.
From our energy policies.
Yeah, seeing the price of oil go up because when you restrict supply here in the United States, it's forcing to get the global supply from somewhere else. OPEC is cutting prices of oil, so the price of oil goes up.
Yeah, and we're not part of OPEC.
She is so unprepared for this answer.
As you know.
Right.
And so they're going to make their decisions on whatever they decide. We are not a member of OPEC.
But the administration has decided to regulate the oil industry here in the U.S. and restrict investment, future investment in the oil supply in the U.S. And so as the price of oil goes up, is that giving Iran enough money to fund these terror groups?
It seems to be a big jump. And so certainly I'm not going to speak into that type of hypothetical. It sounds like a hypothetical that you're asking me. So certainly I'm not going to weigh into this. I'm just not going to weigh into a hypothetical here. Go ahead, Phil.
Took a long time to say I'm not going to answer your question, didn't it? Now, she does bring up, we're not a part of OPEC. We don't set those prices. Yes, but the oil market is done on speculation. If you cancel all of your leases for drilling, people will speculate that there's not going to be as much oil later. If people speculate there's not going to be as much oil available later, the price of oil today goes up. That's how the market works. But we're not going to speculate on that. We don't have time for speculating on that. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Why they don't have time for that? Well, Karine Jean-Pierre will exactly tell you why.
The American people is counting on us.
That was her yesterday.
Dude, we is counting on you.
We is counting on you. The American people is counting on us. I couldn't believe she actually said this.
The American people is counting on us. And the president is doing his job. He's doing his job domestically and as commander-in-chief. The American people's
counting on us.
And we is being let down. Come on.
We is disappointed. Well, I mean, you look at the state of our nation's schools, and the American people may be counting on Joe and them, but the kids don't know how to count.
The American people is counting on us.
Yeah. I got this story from a school, and I'll let you guess what state. Maybe that'll be more fun. No, I'll just tell you, it's California. All right, so there's a school in California, and there seems to be a gentleman that lives. He lives across the street. Okay. Oh, do I not have it? Oh no. Oh nope, I found it.
Okay, good.
Right.
I was gonna say maybe I could find it.
No. So this is great. I just didn't want to like do the whole tease and then not have the audio. So there's a gentleman that lives in a tent city directly across the street from a school, okay? This is the state of American schools when the American people is counting on Joe Biden. The state of American education and just the weakness of our leadership in all of these big cities. There's a school in California, and there's a man that lives in a tent outside the school, directly across the street. The man that lives in the tent has lived there for 2 years. He has a sign in front of his tent. The sign says, "Free fentanyl for first-time users."
I've been in San Francisco basically homeless for 26 years.
46-year-old Adam Moore tells me he has lived on the sidewalk across the street from Stella Maris Academy for more than 2 years, and that his sign offering free fentanyl for new users is no joke. Moore says he's just passing on the drugs that other people give him in exchange for blankets and supplies he provides.
They feel bad if they don't reciprocate, so they bring me trash that they've scavenged, things that they think are valuable, or they give me some of the drugs that they have, which I don't do.
Oh, so they give him the drugs. He doesn't do the drugs. He just offers the drugs out for free for first-time users while he lives across the street from this school. California, baby. California.
You're exposing grade school kids to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is not right. You know that.
No, it's,
I mean,
it's shallow.
the kids come out of the school and they see this.
Yeah.
Kids come out of school and they see a sign that says free fentanyl. A grade school. Unbelievable. This is California. Can they do anything about this gentleman that lives across the street from the school offering free fentanyl to first-time users? No, it turns out they can't, and it turns out it gets a lot worse very quickly.
Yeah, I only live by 2 rules. Be kind to others and make it look easy for children.
The Richmond District Police Captain told me they recently tried an undercover sting on Moore, but he didn't have any drugs at the time. However, it's his past that's led to some concerns. Moore is on the Megan's Law website for lewd and lascivious acts with a child under the age of 14.
Oh, that's comforting. Not only does the homeless man live across the street from a school offering free fentanyl to first-time users, he's also a registered sex offender. California, baby. California.
Moore is on the Megan's Law website for lewd and lascivious acts with a child under the age of 14.
I was innocent of all of the charges that I've been accused of, convicted of.
Moore is apparently not considered a high-risk offender, so he does not have to follow the rule to stay 2,000 feet away from any school.
Oh, he's not a high-risk offender, as he's homeless living across the street from this school offering free fentanyl to first-time users.
Pretty harmless.
That's not high-risk behavior. Sure, he's a registered sex offender for lewd and lascivious acts with a 14-year-old.
Gross.
Not high risk. Not high risk in California. This is like when people say, what did we say earlier? Oh, yeah, the world is laughing at us because we can't get a Speaker of the House. No, they're not laughing at us for that. They're laughing at us for this. A homeless man living outside of a school with a sign that says free fentanyl for first-time users that's also a registered sex offender, and he lives across the street. This is why the world is laughing at us. It has nothing to do with our Speaker of the House race. I'll be perfectly honest with you. It has to do with how we take care of the weakest members of our society. That is how we are judged. We are letting our kids down in these big blue cities. We're letting our elderly down in these big blue cities. We're letting our veterans down in these cities and across the nation. This guy is on a registered sex offender list, lives homeless across the street from a school, and offers free fentanyl to kids. Oh, yeah, they're laughing at us because we can't get a Speaker of the House. Yep, that's why they're laughing.
Moore is apparently not considered a high-risk offender, so he does not have to follow the rule to stay 2,000 feet away from any school.
And I was told that he is in compliance with all of the components of what his sex registration are.
Oh, he's in compliance. He's in compliance. Don't worry. Please don't worry. He's in compliance. This is why the world laughs at us. It has nothing to do with our inability to elect a Speaker of the House, I promise you. It has to do with our inability to protect those that are weakest in our society. I got another story that highlights this as well. Seattle area soccer league for underprivileged kids cancels season. Why did they cancel the season? Crime and homelessness. Crime and homelessness. So these underprivileged kids can't even play soccer because of the crime and the homelessness in Seattle. They're throwing blame at elected officials for their soft on crime public policies, especially King County Executive Dow Constantine, who has known about the problems for over 4 years. I feel like that's a small sample. How long have we known about crime in Seattle? A lot longer. But yeah, a Seattle area youth soccer league canceled the remainder of its season, searching for a new location to play due to rampant crime and homelessness in the area. This is why we're being laughed at. I promise you, it has nothing to do with the Speaker of the House race. Make no mistake, we are being laughed at throughout the world. And it's because we don't protect the weakest members of our society. This soccer field is next to a notorious Green River Road homeless encampment, which is continuing to expand into the nearby woods. It's the latest problem on this part of the street in unincorporated King County in Seattle. And according to the King County Sheriff's Office, 911 for shootings, fires, drug overdoses, fights, abandoned vehicles, they've all spiked over the last few months. Aldridge told Jonathan Cho, a senior fellow at the Discovery Institute, these fields serve our most economically challenged kids. And he added, gangs are moving in. Gangs. This is what we've been dealing with down here ever since COVID. Now, underprivileged youth from parts all over that area have no place to play, and the league is desperately trying to raise money for a new location. This is why the world is laughing at us. We are no longer a serious nation when underprivileged kids can't play soccer. Like that's such a low bar, a place to play soccer. You can't find a safe place for kids to play soccer in Seattle. It's unbelievably saddening, he said. How do you explain that to your children when they see it? There are gunshots going off all the time. Not only gunshots, but stolen cars on the side of the road, homeless people on the side of the road, people passed out from drugs on the side of the road, and kids have to see this. They're just babies. They're just kids. There's nothing humane about letting people live out there like animals. No, nothing humane at all. In fact, it's downright appalling. I wouldn't let my kids play near that. Would you let your kids play near that? Why should this be acceptable in America? We once were a serious country. Now in San Francisco, we have homeless sex offenders living across the street from schools offering free fentanyl to kids. And in places like Seattle, kids can't even play soccer because of gangs, violence, homelessness, and drugs. This is why they're laughing at us. It has nothing to do with the Speaker of the House race, I promise you. 11:50 on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. 11:56 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. We are 3 minutes away, I guess, from this big vote.
Let's go, Johnson! Let's go, Johnson! Oh, boy, we finally got to where we always wanted to be all along. Right, everybody? Hey, how are you?
All right.
Hey, Chris.
You excited?
I mean, who wouldn't be excited? It's Mike Johnson.
Who?
Mike Johnson! Yeah! Not my Johnson, Mike Johnson.
I had a text earlier today. It said, be careful. The Democrats will remove Johnson. The Democrats are good at removing Johnsons.
I'm glad they settled on. My joke was going to be, it was going to go from Mike Johnson to my Johnson. So we better get this one, voted in.
Let's do it.
You don't want to go to the next.
Who would be the next guy? I feel like we've gone through them all.
I think we've done them all, haven't we?
We've run out of options.
My favorite part of all this, you and I were talking to the break, is the number of press releases that you get from a variety of congressmen around the United States of America telling you that, boy, this is the guy. Mike Johnson is the choice. I'm like, well, where's he been? I don't really understand what's going on now, but okay.
He was asleep.
All of this was leading us and prepping us to this moment. This moment in time.
We've made it.
Don't you feel like this is it, though?
I do feel like we're done.
I get that feeling, too, that there's not going to be this nonsense.
It just feels like everybody has hit their threshold for how much they can handle this.
Right.
But I will say, like, everybody says, everybody's laughing at us about the Speaker of the House. And I'm like, I don't know. I was telling you about the story I just did about the homeless registered sex offender that lives across the street from a school and gives out fentanyl. I feel like that's why we're being laughed at, not really Speaker of the House stuff.
I asked the question last night, and I'm going to go over some of the answers, some of the responses on the show today. Like, tell us, let's all commiserate. Let's all share our horror stories of how our lives have been affected over these past 3 weeks with no Speaker of the House.
I saw that. I saw that tweet. I went to go add something, but there was nothing to add.
We just need to come together during these trying times as a community and a country. Let's do that.
I love it. Matt Murphy in next. He'll keep you updated on the score here for Mike Johnson. Does the Johnson get in?
Johnson!
We'll find out on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.